Hi there. When we're looking at organisational structure, we'll come across a term called span of control. So what does it mean? Well, the span of control is all about a number, the number of employees for whom a manager is responsible or in control of at any one time. So it's all about the number. And here's a little worked example just to show you what we mean by the number, the span of control. Let's imagine we've got a manager here. Let's say it's a sales manager in an organisation, and the sales manager has 4 people working for her. Her span of control is therefore 4. 4 employees, subordinates as they're known, report to and are controlled by the sales manager. The span of control is 4, and that's a pretty manageable group to look after. But what happens if the span of control increases? Let's say we started with 4, but we're adding in maybe 3 more sales agents. Now the sales manager's span of control is 7. Yeah, we can all add them up. 7 sales agents reporting to, controlled by the sales manager. So that is a wider span of control because 7 is higher than 4. But of course, you might have situations in some organisations, in some business, when the span of control gets even wider. Maybe it's 13 sales agents, or even worse, 26 sales agents, amazingly even wearing the same colour clothes. So wide spans of control are perfectly possible. Are they desirable? Are they effective? Well, of course, it depends. And therefore, it's important to think about what determines the span of control in terms of working out what's the right or the optimal span of control. Factors such as these on the screen there: the nature of the work involved, how much supervision is required by the manager for the subordinates. If lots of supervision is required, that argues the case for a narrow span of control, i.e. a low number. To what extent is the organisational business wanting to allow employees to have some autonomy over their work, over decision making? And a nice link there back to Hackman and Oldham's model of job design, who argued that autonomy was one of the factors that helped improve job satisfaction. Well, if an organisation wants to grant more autonomy to employees, that might argue for wider spans of control. And also, how many layers does the organisational business want in the organisational structure? The number of layers in the structure is known as the hierarchy, and over recent years and decades indeed, we're seeing organisations typically move towards flatter structures through delayering in particular, and that has encouraged wider spans of control as layers are taken out of the hierarchy. Is there an optimum span of control? Well, it used to be said that it was 6. Of course, there's absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever these days. The answer is it depends. As we've mentioned, a narrow span of control can be particularly suitable where employees need close supervision, or where the organisation wants more layers in the hierarchy. And of course, it may help improve communication if you've only got 4 or 5 subordinates as reporting to you, if you're working as a manager. A lot easier to communicate than if you've got 20 or 30. But on the other hand, of course, you can make the case for wide spans of control, not the least being that it means you need fewer managers and therefore reducing costs, but also if you want to give employees more autonomy over their working lives. So the answer is there is no right answer, narrow or wide, it all depends. Albeit in recent years, we've seen organisations move to wider spans of control as part of broader efforts to reduce HR costs and improve human resource management. There we go. That's just a brief introduction to the concept of the span of control.